off our list today at number 10, we have The Affair. So it's clear that Jada Pinkett Smith's affair with August Alsina crossed a lot of boundaries, especially since August was one of Jaden's best friends. What makes the situation even more unsettling is that August has even stated that Will gave him his blessing to continue his relationship with his wife. While August definitely didn't do anything wrong to be ashamed about, he did completely give himself to a relationship with Jada just to be thrown to the trash like he was nothing. Even though his relationship might have occurred with honesty and communication between all parties, the age difference between Jada and August definitely raised a lot of eyebrows, with critics being quick to point out that August was in fact introduced to the family as Jaden Smith's best friend. Number 9. Took advantage of August Alsina. When it comes to August and Jada's entanglement, because apparently it wasn't an affair, it was an entanglement, there has been a lot of questions, especially when it comes to the notion that Jada definitely took advantage of August's mental state. When Jada started seeing August, he was struggling to cope with a very vulnerable time of his life. Being 22 at the time, August was struggling with his health, as he was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition that had him hospitalized on multiple occasions. And with Jada stating that she was mentoring him, it would have an inside source tell Page 6 what kind of mentoring was she giving him, where he felt he was giving his all to a relationship that left him devastated and hurt. You did not help him, you destroyed him. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
Next up is Tom Segura. While this may be more towards Will Smith, Tom Segura has held absolutely nothing back when torching the Smith family online for the Oscars slap incident. Obviously, a lot of celebrities are ticked off at Will Smith right now, but Tom definitely brought his distaste for Jada into this rant. In a series of tweets, he said, quote, "Let me tell you this, man, the idea that you're entitled thinks because your feelings are hurt, you get to one of the all-time greats because you feel, and then the cowards, the spineless cowards that are in Hollywood and comedy. We have all the lists of the guys. It's insane. It's like a gross exaggeration. You see it all the time. I mean, you see entitlement everywhere, and that was on full display for the world to see. I have zero respect for that, and I feel like more people need to come out and say it. It's unacceptable. Damn. Tom, tell us how you really feel." That being said, it's unclear if the in question is Will or Jada. It could be either or both in this situation. Either way, I doubt Tom will be invited to any Smith family dinners in the near future.
Number 7. Tries to become the woman she hates. So we all know Jada hates women who have blonde hair. And a lot of you have pointed out in the comments in some of our previous videos that it's weird that she has such a bias when it comes to women with blonde hair, as she herself has donned the blonde hair baddie movement, which makes you wonder, does she have a tendency of becoming the woman she hates? As it's clear that her comments about hating women had nothing to do with the girls who bullied her in school, and it was more just an indirect comment thrown as a diss towards Margot Robbie. Because as soon as Margot and Will worked together in the movie Focus, Jada started dyeing her hair blonde and telling her husband to get in shape so Margot didn't embarrass him on the big screen. Number 6. The Oscar slap. The 94th Academy Awards was interesting to the point that everybody is still cracking jokes about it today, even at the 95th Academy Awards that just passed. And what's not funny is that everyone keeps making jokes about violence, when the infamous slap definitely is still hurting not only Chris Rock but also Will Smith. After Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, she would scrutinize her husband by rolling her eyes and giving him an "are you kidding me" look. The look then definitely wiped the simple smile and laugh from Will's face, and he would stand up and take the stage to defend his wife. Even though Jada has been like, "I didn't force him to do this and I'm appalled by his actions," maybe she didn't do it, but she did encourage him to defend her name, and she did have the power from stopping her husband from ruining his career. Number 5. Embarrass Snoop Dogg. Just after Kobe passed away in 2020, Snoop Dogg was quick to call out Gayle King after she stated in a TV interview that in the past Kobe has been accused of making unwanted advances on a woman who wasn't his wife. In an interview video, Snoop Dogg would call out King. In the process, he insulted King's appearance before telling her, "Back off, B, before we come get you." As a result of the outburst, instead of having a private conversation with her close friend, Jada would bring Snoop Dogg on her Red Table Talk show where she would embarrass him, not only in front of her mother and her daughter, but also in front of the whole world. After she told the rapper that she felt hurt on behalf of all women when she watched the video of him going after Gayle. As a result, Snoop Dogg was so embarrassed that he would make another video on his Instagram where he would apologize to King by saying, "When you're wrong, you gotta fix it." A derogatory manner based off of emotions? I was raised better than that. So I would like to apologize to you publicly for the language that I used, calling you out of your name and just being disrespectful. But full on, she didn't need to bring him on the talk show to get him to say this. Number 4, drag Tupac's name. If you ever wondered how Tupac would have gotten involved with such a vile woman, you're not alone, as even decades after his passing, people are still wondering what his relationship really was with Jada, especially since she came out to pretty much diss the rapper by saying, "When we first met, I was a dealer." With the two forming a connection while they were both studying at the Baltimore School of Arts, the actor would have to clarify that something very bad happened to make her leave her dealing life behind. And then she would reveal how she got involved with Tupac, and the more she got involved with him, she started to realize that her relationship with the rapper was more just about survival. And then after his passing, it would be noted that Jada broke Tupac's heart after getting with Will Smith, and she would then ask Tupac not to hurt Will, but that was never his intention, and he was hurt that she would say such a thing. Also, the fact she still talks about him today like he's still the love of her life is actually just pretty messed up and really sus. Number 3, Scientologist. Although Jada has tried to claim that she isn't a Scientologist, she has been connected to the controversial religion for years, to the point even an ex-Scientologist named Lee told the Daily Beast in 2017, "I know Jada. She's been in Scientology for a long time. I never saw Will there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center." Lee would then later appear alongside Jada in 2018 for Jada's Red Table talk show, where the pair settled their dispute, and Jada would say, "My grandmother was like, you're gonna learn all the religion, and then you gotta decide which one you want to practice. I always took the position that I'm here at the Scientology Center to learn what I want to learn, and I have no interest in being a Scientologist. But if you had no interest in being a Scientologist, then why did you open a Scientology school?" Number 2, embarrassed Will Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has never missed the opportunity to embarrass her husband, especially when she heads over to the Red Table talk show. When Gwyneth Paltrow was even a guest of honor on the episode, Jada quickly came under fire for taking the opportunity to embarrass her husband after the two started to talk about their intimate lives. And the spice started to seem a little too much for Will's biggest fans. Not only did Jada take the time to bring up her entanglement, but she also went on to tell Gwyneth that she and Will navigate intimacy in the relationship and that it wasn't as smooth and easy as both of them thought it would be, especially when she noted that she just expected Will to know what she needed when it came to her intimate needs. When she said, "If you love me, you should read my mind." Twitter users then started to imply that Jada was oversharing or going out of her way to call out Will, and they were extremely disappointed that she would play Will like this. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Makes Kids Diss Will live. With Jada's Red Table talk show being pretty controversial at this point, we shouldn't really be surprised when she takes every opportunity she can to make her husband seem like he's the bad guy. Especially when she brought her own children on the show to discuss the problems they had with both Jada's and Will's parenting skills. But the whole thing just turned on Will to make him look like the bad guy with no control. In the episode, Willow would tell Jada that she was extremely upset with the way Will handled her success after she released her 2010 song, "Whip My Hair," when she said, "I only have one terrible experience, which is whip my hair. Just the values of people around me should have been the opposite. You and Daddy should have been okay. We value her musical growth and knowledge more than her popularity." Jada then went on to say that Will's approach was definitely different because they both had different childhoods, but you guys both grew up with her in pain, so that just doesn't make sense.
First up, August Alsina. Without August Alsina coming forward, we would have no idea about his affair or entanglement with Jada Pinkett Smith. Will and Jada have been married for 20 years, but it seems that they've been anything but conventional, and the pair have revealed that they have an open marriage. Alsina spilled the beans on his relationship with Jada while on Angela Yee's radio show. When speaking about Jada, he said, quote, "I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly, really deeply love her." Alsina even claimed that Will gave the couple his blessing to be together, although Jada denies this. Jada admitted to having an affair with August, but downplayed it as an entanglement. During the Red Table Talk segment where they spoke of the affair, Will looked visibly angry about the situation, and pushed Jada to admit she did have a relationship with August. After admitting to cheating, Jada didn't really apologize or seem remorseful, she instead just deflected. saying, quote, "I was in a lot of pain. I was very broken," saying she only wanted to help August, but it turned into a relationship. Jada said that this entanglement with August happened while she and Will were on a break, and their marriage was really struggling. After Jada called their relationship an entanglement, Alsina told Vulture, quote, "If you look up the definition of an entanglement, it's a complex and difficult relationship. It was exactly that. I think it's just the language that probably stuck out to people." Adding, quote, "But I definitely have to agree with it being an entanglement. It definitely was something complicated, a complicated dynamic." Even though it doesn't seem like Jada is ashamed of anything that she did, it is strange that she tried to deny it, then downplayed it when she could not brush it off anymore. She's also been accused of using her husband's pain for clicks on her Facebook show, but we'll get more into that later. Next up, Will Smith. Since Jada started being so open about her life on her Facebook show, Red Table Talk, she has consistently embarrassed her husband, Will Smith. Most notably was that episode where they spoke about their marriage and the affair that Jada had with August. In that episode, Will admitted to his wife, quote, "The fact that I am talking to you is a miracle," clearly showcasing the tension in their marriage. And then Will went viral after that interview, and a meme called the, quote, "Sad Will meme" spread quickly online. Will brushed off the commentary from that episode, saying he was not sad in that interview, rather he had a long day and was just very tired. He told GQ about the meme, quote, "I'm not sad, I'm effing exhausted." It seems that Will puts his relationship on the line for Jada and their marriage whenever asked, while she doesn't do the same. The most clear-cut case of this was his Oscar slap. Maybe he knew that if he didn't defend his wife in that moment, that would put another strain on their relationship. Will has also admitted that they're only in an open relationship because of Jada. Will has revealed their open marriage was Jada's idea, since she, quote, "has never believed in conventional marriage and had family members that had unconventional relationships." Jada has even shared private information regarding their intimate moments. When Jada had Gwyneth Paltrow on the Red Table Talk, Jada revealed that her intimate relationship with Will was struggling, and that it had been hard for them to keep the spark alive. Jada said, quote, "The accountability part really hit for me because I think you expect your partner to know what you need, especially when it comes to Fans quickly came to Will's defense against her, calling out Jada for speaking so poorly of her husband. One person even tweeted a meme of Jada asking herself, quote, "I wonder how I can embarrass this man this month." Next up, Gabrielle Union. One of Jada's most notable feuds is with fellow actress Gabrielle Union. Neither woman could remember why they feuded in the first place, and Union recalled always feeling strange about the way Jada treated her. Jada decided to clear things up with Union on none other than her show Red Table Talk. Jada said on the show, quote, "She and I did not talk for 17 years and we could not remember why. There was just tension between us every time we would see each other. There was some moment that we had that it just left a bad taste in both of our mouths. When we got on the phone to try and figure out what it was, we could not figure it out." In 2018, Jada had Union on the show where they finally put the beef to rest for good. The pair talked about their strange feud and how there was always tension between them, but neither had any reason to not be friendly. Smith said, quote, "It felt so good to even just go, hey, I'm sorry that I didn't even take the time to talk to you. And then I had to just apologize and just think to myself, damn Jada, that was some petty stuff." Union later told Today that she was not sure why Jada did not like her. She felt it was the media and other people that pitted them against one another, but thankfully they are on better terms now. Her kids. Jada and Will share 2 kids together, Jaden and Willow Smith. But there have been a lot of people who've doubted their parenting skills, including Child Protective Services. CPS showed up at their home to investigate after a picture showed 13-year-old Willow laying in bed with family friend Moises Arias, who was 20 at the time. While a source told Radar that the case was, quote, "being taken very seriously by the department," Jada told reporters, quote, "There was nothing indecent about that picture or that situation." Will and Jada's parenting style is pretty lax. Will admitted in the past the couple, quote, "do not punish when it comes to their kids." The couple says they would rather give them as much control over their lives as possible. Adding, quote, "The way that we deal with our kids is that they are responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible. And on the concept of punishment, our experience is that it has a little too much of a negative quality." Jaden is also a fan of the ways parents discipline, telling Metro that it works pretty well. Although most kids would jump at the chance to have their parents stop nagging them. However, there might be times when it's appropriate to put limits on kids, as they might not understand the consequences of what's happening at that time. One example of this could be Jaden's past friendship with actress Zoe Kravitz. Zoe is 10 years older than Jaden, and Zoe admitted to hanging out with Jaden alone when he was just 14 years old. Although nothing inappropriate happened between them, other parents might want to limit that sort of interaction. Cherie Zampino. Cherie Zampino was married to Will Smith before he and Jada got married. The shady part is that Will and Jada started dating before he and Cherie were officially divorced. Jada's mother, Adrienne Banfield Jones, dished on Access, quote, "I think initially when Will first called you, I think he was still married or he was just separated, and I was like, he's not available to you. Jada added that Will was the div, and the Orst didn't happen yet. But Jada later admitted that when she learned things were not finalized, she should have backed off. To make matters worse, Jada has claimed on multiple occasions that she never even wanted to marry Will. She only decided to go forward with it because she got pregnant. Her mother and Will thought that starting a family was the best idea, and Jada reluctantly agreed. Later, the couple agreed to an open marriage. And finally, Jada herself. So I think we all know what happened at the 2022 Oscars between Will Smith and Chris Rock, but I'll give you guys a quick refresher. While Rock was on stage to present an award, he made a joke about G.I. Jane directed at Jada Pinkett Smith because she had a bald head at the event. Initially, Will Smith laughed at the joke, but after seeing that his wife did not approve, he got up on the stage, interrupted Chris and the show, and slapped him in the face. Everyone was shocked, but later many came to Will's defense because Jada had been open about her struggles with alopecia. But a few days after the event, many were calling Jada a hypocrite. TikToks of hers that she made days before the show resurfaced, clapping back at those that made fun of her short hair. In one clip she said, quote, "She doesn't give two craps about what people say about her bald head." But clearly that's not true, or she would have been able to take the joke. In the rest of the video, she talks about how her hairstyling for so many years is part of the reason she developed alopecia. Jada shared that she was pressured to present her hair throughout her decades on the big screen and magazine covers. The treatments were used to give her straight hair, but they also caused her hair loss. That's not the only time her behavior has been a bit shady. The actress revealed that she can actually be pretty rude, specifically to people she loves the most. On an episode of her show Red Table Talk, she revealed that she's done so many horrible things to people she loves because of her ego, adding, quote, "Once my ego kicks in, we are in trouble. That Jada baby, she ain't cute, she's a vicious one, and she's mean." She also admitted that she got confrontational towards some of her husband's admirers, revealing, quote, "There was only like 1 or 2 times where I might have gotten a little hostile when I felt people stepped over a boundary that they were disrespectful. Now we got an issue." She did know that she is doing her best to improve these behaviors, but obviously we would hope that she would be nice to people all of the time.
Kris Jenner. Believe it or not, the Kardashian clan used to be super close to the Smith family, particularly because Kris's kids got along super well with Jada and Will's kids. In fact, Kendall and Jaden are still super close, but we never see the adults hanging out anymore. It's very likely that their friendship didn't survive the whole famous Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson, Jordan Woods love triangle in 2019. After Jordan was exposed for making out with Khloe's ex Tristan, Jada decided to have Jordan on her talk show, Red Table Talk, to reveal her side of the story. The interview featured a ton of sympathy for Jordan as she said her piece about what went down. Jada and Will have known Jordan since she was born because her father worked on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Apparently, after the allegations came to light, Jordan came to Jada asking for help. Quote, "I just wanted her to have a platform to tell her story. That's it. She's a young, beautiful woman inside and out, and me having been a young girl, we sometimes get into situations that we don't necessarily know how to handle." It's likely that all this sympathy towards Jordan led the Kardashian matriarch to cut ties with Jada, as they were never seen getting close after the incident. Promptly after the interview, the Jenners and the Kardashians all unfollowed Jada and Will on Instagram and vice versa. That being said, they still let their kids hang out as Jaden was spotted at Kendall's infamous controversial 2020 birthday bash. Next up is Olivia Jade. While there's no overt animosity between Jada and Olivia Jade, there was definitely some very public discussion of having her on the Red Table Talk show. After the college admissions scandal that put Olivia Jade's mother, Lori Loughlin, in jail for attempting to cheat her daughter's way into college, Olivia Jade attempted to go onto Red Table Talk to set records straight. She went onto the talk show in 2020, and Jada's co-host, her own mother, was extremely public about her distaste for Olivia's appearance. Jada's mom stated, quote, "I fought it tooth and nail. I just found it really ironic that she chose 3 black women to reach out to for her redemption story. I feel like here we are, a white woman coming to a black woman for support when we don't get the same from them. It's bothersome to me on so many levels. Her being here is the epitome of white privilege to me. And honestly, it's hard not to see her point." The whole time Olivia Jade was on the show, she just kept talking about, "Oh, poor me. I didn't realize how privileged I am, blah blah blah." And Jada's Jada's mom let her have it. She told Olivia straight to her face, quote, "There is so much violent dehumanization that the black community has to go through on a daily basis, right? There's so much devastation, particularly this year, 2020, and everything being brought to the table. There is so much inequality and inequity that when you come to the table with something like this, it's like, child, please. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with everything we have to deal with as a community, and I just don't have the energy to put into the fact that you lost your endorsements and you're not in school right now." Whoa, I can't even imagine that going over super well on the friendship mark, especially considering this public blasting was broadcasted all over.
Coming back at our list today in the number 8 spot, we have Hates Woman. During an episode of the Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett Smith would have a pretty hypocritical moment when she said that the racial divide between women of color and white women should shrink because they have all been oppressed for their gender, but she candidly revealed that she carried her own biased opinion when she said later on she went on to note that she had a racial bias towards blonde white women. And when she sees a woman with white blonde hair, she just gets triggered and she has to force herself to stop lashing out at them in the process for no reason. Jada then went on to note that she has these feelings because blonde white women used to bully her in school, but we really had to question if this was because she feels scared about the bond Margot Robbie has with Will Smith.
Next up is August Alsina. While I think maybe this one is a bit of a stretch because it's hard to hate someone who's actively keeping you relevant, I do think that August Alsina can't be happy with how his name has been dragged through the mud with this weird open marriage thing that he was involved with. He claimed to have dedicated years of his life to Jada after they had initially been introduced when Jaden brought him home as a friend. Although the two had their affair while Jada and Will were separated, it didn't stop the actor from writing an entire album called Entanglements about her. It has also just been announced that he's going to write a memoir about his time with Jada, which I am like 99% sure is to A, keep him relevant, and B, to drag Will and Jada's name through the ringer. Next up is Cherie Zampino. Cherie Zampino is the ex-wife of Will Smith, who he had one son with named Trey. Although this feud is largely over, Jada openly admitted to really disliking her husband's ex-wife, and the feeling was very mutual. When they began their relationship, Jada and Cherie hated each other. They had a lot of issues with their blended family, which basically meant them all co-parenting the kids that they all had with Will. Zampino recalls a moment when she had to speak to Will about their son Trey, but Jada picked up the phone. Quote, "You picked up the phone and I wasn't really respectful. You basically let me know, I don't really appreciate your tone, and I was like, it doesn't matter. And you hung up on me. I called back and I happened to say, bitch, you're living in the house that I picked out." The two then shared a laugh with one another, so I guess this one doesn't really count because they've definitely made amends with one another. Despite having an extremely rocky relationship to begin with, they seem to get over it for the sake of Will Smith and their kids. Okay, this next one is just for laughs, but Will Smith. I mean, God, they must have had an extremely hard time within their marriage because Jada, for better or for worse, constantly lays it out on the table. She airs her dirty laundry with Will genuinely constantly, and a lot of fans think that the Men in Black actor is so stricken with Jada that he won't see just how inappropriate her behavior is. For example, always on her talk show, Jada insinuated that Will doesn't know how to please her in bed when she was discussing intimacy with Gwyneth Paltrow. Also openly admitted to cheating on Will, and she had an extremely intimate relationship with Tupac Shakur despite her claiming never to have dated him. I can't imagine all that going over super well, especially when we, as the ever watchful public, know all of these things. I think it would be a much easier pill to swallow if the entire internet weren't calling Will a but here we are. And now that the Oscars slap thing happened because Will was defending Jada's hair loss, it really does feel like a house that's so full of pretension and privilege that I think people have just kind of largely given up on the couple. Anyways, listen, I know it was so tough finding celebrities who openly hate Jada. Not that she's a particularly good person, but like, why even have the public beef?